Good morning, everybody. We're going to get ready here and get started in just a couple of minutes. I do want to remind you that the Kirby celebrations will become available to you tomorrow, so don't forget to check that out. For the stamp sets and the dies. Remember, the Kirby Christmas will only be available through January 3rd, I believe. And the Quite Kirby set will be available coming out in the new catalog. So here was the die set and the couple of stamp sets available. If you order the Christmas stamp set, we also had the specialty paper packet that came in that bundle. The classic Christmas paper. We used some of that in our gift card holders that we did. So don't forget, check bohostamper.com, and you can find these on my online store. If you can't find them, give me a holler and I'll help get them ordered for you. The other thing I wanted to remind you is it's about time for us to get our mailing selectors ready for the new January through June of 2021 catalog, and also for the celebration brochure. So if you've already ordered from me, you're on my mailing list, and you'll get our catalogs. If you have subscribed to my newsletter, I make sure that you're signed up to also get the catalogs. If you need one and you don't have a demonstrator, give me a holler. I'll get you added to the list. If you get catalogs and you don't want them, let me know and I'll take you off. That way we save postage and paper. Last week I had mentioned how from the Kirby celebrations I was saving the leftover Kirby pieces and wanted to try to use those as a snowy hillside, and that I had gotten at the end of last year. I got the Playful Penguin stamp set, which isn't available anymore, but it was late last year when I got it, and I already had my Christmas cards well underway, so I just set this one aside and then hadn't thought to pull it out until recently. So this was the stamp set that we had last year, the Playful Penguins. And so I stamped a few of those guys and got them cut out. I didn't fussy cut them. As I mentioned before, I'm not a great fussy cutter. I did have them stamped out a bunch of times and put them in a scan and cut and let the machine cut them out. And once I got them cut out, I was kind of thinking, how am I going to accent a penguin, because they're black and white? So I looked pictures up on the internet, of course, and I found that some of them do have a little bit of yellow on their chest and under their neck, and thought, well, that was good. I could use my Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol markers, and add a little bit of accent to their stomachs. You can't see under their necks because after I colored in scarves and added those to them, their yellow shading was hidden. But I used my hillsides from the Kirby dies and some of the snowflake sequins. And then I found a scrap of white glitter paper and used my smallest punch and punched out a bunch of little circles. I don't know if you can see. I made them a mound of snowballs in the middle, because if they're playful penguins, they have to have something to play with, right? So there's their snowballs. And then my other piece of this background that I had sponged, I did save it and I used it in one of our well, not one of the cards we're going to make, but I used it in the Pines today. And I'll show you that one when we get to the end. So, hello Monday and welcome friends. We'll get started on today's cards. Since we're going to work on Christmas cards in earnest, because I really need to get those going next week, I'm planning on working with poinsettia petals. This is the stamp set that's in the catalog. And here is the die set, the poinsettia dies. So we'll put together some flowers and see what we can come up with for Christmas cards with that. Isn't that a pretty set? So that'll be next week. Our first card this week, I watched a video by Donna Gray, and I don't remember if she's in the UK or Australia because we have demonstrators everywhere. And she was doing a demo on In the Pines and said that she was casing this from the catalog. And casing is what Stampin' Up! Encourages us to do is copy and share everything so that we can help inspire anybody who's kind of in a slump or needs some ideas or boosts or whatever. So when she said that she had cased this from the catalog, I got my holiday mini catalog out, and sure enough, there it is, what she did. And I was like, oh, that's kind of pretty. I don't know how I missed it in the first place, but I did. And I don't really want to, thinking of You card, which this one does use that stamp, but I do need some Christmas ones, and we have a Season's Greeting stamp in our stamp set, so that's what we're going to use. And I do have the acorns, the little acorns that are tied onto the wreath there with some of the gold braid, but I'm not going to add that either. I want it to be a little bit simpler and more Christmassy. So, but without watching her video, I probably would never have seen that in the catalog. And it's really a very easy card to make. So this is how my card came out. A couple things we're gonna change. I wish I would have put my sentiment or my greeting a little bit closer to the left. I have too much empty space here on the side, so I might go back in and add some gold dots or something to break it up a little bit, or some rhinestones. So on the one that we're gonna do, we're gonna stamp Season's Greetings a little bit over further. Let's see. So we started with soft suede cardstock, and I used, of course, an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock, scored in the middle and folded to give us a 4.25 by 5.5 card base. I took another piece of soft suede and cut that just shy of the card base, making this at 4 by 5.25. That's what we're going to use to stamp on. The gold hoop embellishments, these are available in the catalog now, and I think we used these also in one of the kits that we did for the harvest cards and made wreaths with them. They're really versatile. They are flat, making it very simple to adhere to your card. They're not round and going to fall off or anything. You can stick them on with either glue dots or liquid glue. I've always used liquid glue and it works just fine. So we have our little hoop. Out of the stamp set, I have already stamped these 3 little trees and die cut them on a piece of pear pizzazz. And that's what we're going to use across our hoop. And somewhere I had already cut a piece of, here we go, gold ribbon. And this is the gold shimmer ribbon, also still available in the catalog. If you don't have the gold shimmer ribbon, I pulled out a bunch of different things and tried to look them up so I could see if, for anybody who doesn't have the gold shimmer ribbon, you might find some other things that you could use. So this gold braid that we've used on a couple of the cards today was part of the Forever Greenery suite, and it was in a combo pack and comes with a vanilla open weave ribbon. So you can find that in the catalog too, but you're not going to find this gold braid by itself. So look for the Forever Greenery Trim Combo Pack. If you get stuck, the number is 152475. We have a couple other ones here. Any kind of a gold ribbon is going to work just great. Okay, so first thing we have to do is stamp our season's greetings. I'm going to get a mat out. I'm also going to put a piece of scrap paper on my stamping mat, my piercing mat, because I know that I'm going to, I hope that doesn't blur my screen, but I know that I'm going to stamp off of the cardstock really want to get ink all over my mat. And so just starting at the top, and for me, remembering to go a little bit more to the left. I'm going to stamp off a little bit to the side. Boy, I hope I get these straight. And then another one towards the center. Another one to the side. Trying to space them a little evenly. Not too bad. If you hear a bunch of thumping and thudding around the house, we're not having construction done. I think my cat found a piece of cellophane to play with downstairs, and he's just bouncing off of everything. Okay. I'm gonna put a little bit of Tombow adhesive on the back of my gold hoop, just dotting it around. I don't need a whole lot. I want it to squish out the sides when I add it to my panel. Hope everyone's enjoying their Monday. We got our snow that was predicted, and some people are loving it and some people are not really crazy about that. I'm not a snowy person, so it could have held off until Christmas Eve and I'd have been just fine with that. And put this a little bit towards the bottom of my panel, and then taking the gold shimmer ribbon, may need to trim that down a little bit. I'm just gonna loop this over on my hoop, so I'm gonna add a couple of glue dots here to get that to stick down. So we have more glue dots in here. that's better. Not quite so long. All right, finding tools. Get my glue mat for the moment. So I'm excited to see what we have coming out in the new catalog. This week is Stampin' Up! On Stage, which is Stampin' Up's recognition, and they introduce some of the products that will be in the new catalogs. I got that glue dot outside of my ribbon a little bit there. And we had the opportunity to get the swag bag that will have a lot of the items in there for On Stage, which begins Thursday evening. So we got demonstrators were able to get one of the new stamp sets that will be in the next catalog. It's kind of pretty. So we start that Thursday evening and get some breakout sessions and some demonstrations and things through Friday and Saturday. So that'll be wonderful for ideas for the new products. I'm gonna add my pine trees. I think that I'll pop them up a little bit. Use some mini dimensionals. Then I did take a piece of the gold braid trim and tied a little bow. I use a glue dot on that to make it stick. I don't really know if I want to put it right on the hoop, or I think my other one I did. Put this one a little bit beside the hoop. And this gold braid trim is really pretty. If you don't want your ends to fray, just make sure you tie a little knot on the end of it before you make your bow, or it's gonna unravel and possibly make you not happy. I kind of like it frayed, so I didn't tie any knots. I'm gonna pop this up onto the card base. So just using Stampin' Dimensionals. Still sounds kind of blustery out there. I don't see any snow right now, but that wind is still blowing. Okay, and there's our first card. Pretty simple stamping. Just I cut the pines and put them in a wreath. So I was pretty happy to find that one in the catalog to use as my first card with this one. That made me want to do kind of a primitive looking tree. The stamp set has, I don't know what kind of trees these are, but I do like the tall skinny tree. I actually have one of those artificial ones to put in my kitchen because it's nice and thin, so it doesn't take up a whole lot of room. So I sort of made this very simple card. I used our Peace and Joy set from last year's catalog that was carried over, and I used the die out of here that just said Peace and cut it out of gold foil. And we have where's my On Earth? On Earth. This stamp set is well loved. I've used it quite a bit. I save all my little extra pieces. This has the shadow background, so you can cut your word out and then cut a background for it, and then cut the, I don't know, the balloon shape that goes around it. I used quite a few of those in my cards last year. And I just save all my extra pieces in my card cases, or my stamp cases. So I wasn't sure, excuse me, what color I wanted to do my On Earth. Oh, I pulled out Happy. I am happy, but I want On Earth. There it is. And I tried in Mossy Meadow and Pear Pizzazz. Mossy Meadow, I think, looked too dark, made it almost black. The Pear Pizzazz kind of showed up better. And so that's what we're going to stamp with. For this card, we're going to use crumb cake cardstock, same measurements, 8.5 by 11, scored and folded in half, and then a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of crumb cake cardstock to stamp our images on. And I did want this tree to have a trunk, but the tree stamp has its own little trunk. So we're gonna, after I get the ink on here, we're gonna wipe that off so that I can have a brown trunk. So using soft suede and the stamp from the set that is the tree trunk. And this stamp has a narrower end and a wide end. So make sure you're stamping the wider end towards the bottom, or it's going to look like your tree is on a toothpick. We just put our tree trunk on the card. Okay. And because we don't want our tree to look like it's floating in air, we also have some little some little ground marks on one of the stamps. And for my ground marks, I also use soft suede, but I stamped them off. Actually, I'm thinking I used crumb cake for all this, so this is going to be a little darker. It'll be all right. Here we go. Now our tree will have some ground to stand on. Using Pear Pizzazz. While I have that out, we're gonna take that little scrap of crumb cake that I had, and stamp on earth. A little crooked, but we're going to trim it anyway, so that'll work. And then I have my tree. For the detailed part of the tree with the lines, I'm gonna leave my Pear Pizzazz full strength, but I am gonna wipe off the trunk part because I want the brown to show. I can line my trunks up between the stamp and what I have on my card. And stamp the detail part. And with the stamp that fills in the color of the tree, we'll do that in Pear Pizzazz also. But I'll stamp it off once so that it's lighter going on to the stamp set is made to look more of a watercolor effect, so that it's not going to fit right inside the lines. If you're a very detailed person, you might not like that, but I do. So we have our color on the tree. It's keeping it pretty plain. And I can put our ink away. Let's see, I need to trim my Again, I thank everybody for joining and being patient while I'm getting started with my Facebook Lives. If you remember to like Boho Stamper's Facebook page, and then if you like the videos, please share them so we can get more people watching videos. That will truly help. Facebook only allows you to give advance notice for your live demos. I think it's like 48 hours in advance. So I try to remember to send it out on Sunday for Monday. And if people don't watch the page, they're not going to know about it. I forgot to mention, when I cut my words from the Peace and Joy stamp set, I put a piece of sticky tape on the, or a sticky sheet on the back of them. That's available in the catalog also. Because it's such a fine font, I didn't want to use glue and have the glue smear out on the metallic paper. So I used the sticky sheet, and then it just peels off the back and makes it like a sticker. Okay. And then on my first card, I used, I had some old olive twine. So we can either use, I have crumb cake twine. I think the old olive stands out better, so I'm going to stick with that on this one too. And I just wrap it around the base of my card. I'm a 3-person. I wrap stuff usually 3 times. You can wrap it as many or as few times as you like. And because this is being a little bit of a rustic card, we're not going to do a bow, we're just going to tie a knot with the twine. Put that out. Come on. Little string. I didn't get it all in there. And I don't want it to come unraveled. I don't care if the ends are frayed, but I don't want it to come off the card. Well, that's just a mess, isn't it? Yes, it is. So we're going to put that piece aside and do that one more time. I can use that on something different. That wasn't even a bow. I thought it was making it easier this time, no bow. There we go. That shouldn't have been the hardest part of the card, but oh well. There, got it. Trim my ends. Add on earth, and I did use some mini dimensionals with that. Add this to our card base, and I don't really have a whole lot on here that is gonna need glue to hold it down, so we'll use our Stampin' Seal Plus and just adhere this with tape runner. I guess you can, I guess on my first one too, I used dimensionals and I popped that up, whichever you prefer. And for my star, because I wanted it to have a Star of Wonder, I used champagne rhinestone basic jewels. You can use any rhinestone or gem that you have, and just add your little star to the top corner of your card. The one that tried to get away. Stay there. And so that was our second card. Basic, but still sending Christmas wishes. And the last card today, I was waiting to get my embossing folder so that I could emboss foil. And that did come. That was the Evergreen Forest 3D embossing folder. It's really very pretty. It's very detailed, and I embossed several different colors of foil just to see what they would look like. So this one was out of the brushed metallic. This is the coppery one. This is sort of the rose copper, I guess. I haven't made that one into a card yet. This was gold foil paper. I had a piece of that, and let's see if I can get them to show up better on the black paper. It's going to be kind of hard. And this one was silver. But the detail that comes out in the trees is beautiful. And I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to on one of these. I'm going to use my alcohol pens, my Stampin' Blends, and try to color some of these in and make it, just to make them look a little different. But the one that I thought we could do today was using the green foil. This was the foil paper that I had shown you guys last week. And I used on this card just a Whisper White thick card base. A piece of basic black, which is the same size as the card base, so it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then after I embossed my green foil paper, I trimmed it down to 4 1/4 by 4 by 5 1/4. I always say that backwards, don't I? And I'll tell you, as pretty as it is, and probably the reason I haven't tried to go in and do anything with the alcohol markers, it doesn't need a whole lot. So we used to make a bow the silver metallic edged ribbon. And I guess I didn't make a bow already for this one. So here's my little bow maker. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. I don't know if everybody's got bow makers or if you're all skilled at making bows on your own. Let's see, how big is this? Big enough? Yeah, I think this is about the size that I did make. Okay. And my sister at one point had lent me her big bow maker because I was making new wreaths for all of our windows on the house. And I fell in love with it, and I had to give hers back one day, so I had to go find my own bow maker. And then I found the little bow maker, and I thought that would come in handy, especially for the craft fair that's coming up this weekend. I have some make and take cards for there, and one of them has a bow on it. And with COVID, I'm trying to make everything that I can ahead of time so that I don't have to have too many hands on any of the pieces that we need. So I made 35 bows to take for them to select what color they want. And it was much faster making them with my little bow maker than sitting there trying to tie them all. So a handy dandy little tool if you're gonna do lots of bows. Okay. And then all I did was line this up where I wanted it to go across the bottom of my card. And again, the glue dots are gonna make our bows stay where we tell them to go, because sometimes they do have a mind of their own. Need enough stick on there to, oh, and it didn't hold that ribbon. There we go. Until I get it on the base. Okay. Wasn't quite sure how I wanted to do a greeting on these cards. I thought I would just heat emboss my greeting, and I tried that several times, and I don't know if some of my embossing powder is getting old or what. I was using what set that I used to do my greeting from. I don't even know. But when I heat embossed it, my font was coming out really thick, and I didn't like it. So I dug out my old Delicata ink pads that are no longer available from Stampin' Up, but I know you can get refills. I wish I'd have got refills when it was still available. And I think I saw them at our craft store, so I'm gonna see if I can get the refills. I want this a little tighter. Better. And then remember, because we are using an embossed sheet of paper, it's best if we can use a liquid glue on the back of that to make sure it sticks good. So anyways, I used the Delicata ink and just stamp my greeting on black paper here, and then die cut it out with what did I use? I don't think it was Stitch So Sweetly this time. I think I found something different. The light went off. Okay. It's a little harder to see on black background here. I think we got it pretty even. Get that to stick down there. So here were the greetings then, just with the Delicata ink. And I'm going to use one of the silver ones on here. This does need held down for a second with the foil paper. And dimensionals. These are all minis. I should have used black dimensionals, huh? Oh, I don't think we'll be able to see it anyway. It should be fine. And then we can add this to our Whisper White card base. I don't know where I put those. I did keep my heat embossed labels that I made. I don't know if I'll use them on anything I really didn't like. And I've watched a couple of discussions. I followed them to see if other people have had problems with embossing powder, if it's old, and some have. Some say they have used their embossing powder forever and not had any worries, no problems. But I think I'll just order some fresh silver and gold here for the holidays and make sure that's not what my problem is. And so there's our third card with our green embossed foil sheet. The foil's just so pretty. The brushed metallic over there. I got some glue on there. I'll have to try to get off. That brushed metallic paper I told you guys is just really nice. Gonna have to order some more of that too so that I have extra for holiday cards. So that was our third card. Our second card and our first card, which was right from the catalog actually. Then I was gonna just share with you that last background panel that I had done sponging the night sky colors on it, and I just die cut and stamped a bunch of the pines from this kit, or from this stamp set, and layered them on my snowy hillside to make a nice little wintry scene. And another set that was carried over from last year was the Merry Moose. So I stamped a moose, and then I used the moose punch, and I don't know if the moose punch is still in there, but I know that the stamp set is still available. He's another set that is well loved and used quite a bit, but I like the moose a lot in this, and I like the fir trees on this one too. This is a good set. But I stuck a little moose coming out of some of the pines here, and that's how I ended up using my other background. So I hope you enjoyed the cards that we made today and are starting to get some of your Christmas cards ready. If you found something on here that you need to continue making your cards, give me a holler. at Diane at bohostamper.com, and I'll help you get the supplies that you need. And don't forget the curvy celebrations coming up here. Watch for those so you can get your order in and have those stamp and die sets that you need to make your Christmas cards too. I hope all of you have a wonderful week. Stay warm. I know it's a little snowy here today, but I think we're supposed to get sunny and in the 60s here by midweek. Of course, that's our weather. We've got to be prepared for everything. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you next Monday on Hello Monday at 10 o'clock. Thanks, everybody. Bye.